Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the PSION class and the Mesmer subclass in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that's made by Vexarius here, and this is a class, it's homebrewed, but similar to the Artificer, which was added to D&D. Now with this class, it's all about psionic casting. So we get a few different spells here like the psychokinetic blast, and with the Mesmer subclass in particular, it's all about high note and darkness. I also like the psionarch here, which is a melee attacker focused on doing some smites, but the Mesmer has a very unique way of playing, and stealth and spellcasting is a specialty. Now with the Psion, you get to take cantrips here, and you get the selection from things like Booming Blade, Friends, Minor Illusion, and Blade Ward. I'm going to go with these two here. If you're not the phase of the party, take Minor Illusion instead. And with the subclass Mesmer, you get superior dark vision up to 24 meters, and also the instinctive charm. Charm an enemy attacking you. They will attack a new target if possible as a reaction. It's kind of cool, but the Illithid ability also gives you that same feature. For our ability scores, we're going to go with 16 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 16 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 10 Charisma. And you also get some extra spells here like Mage Armor, Charm Person, Dissonant Whispers, Animal Friendship, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And the class features Psi Focus, Psi Casting, which allows you to cast spells non-verbally, so if you're silenced, no big deal. And you can make them cost psionic focus points instead. One cost per spell level, and you gain more of these at level, and they refresh on a short rest. You also get the psionic resistance, advantage on saving throws against illusions and against being charmed, paralyzed, or frightened. And we also get Vicious Mockery, Psychokinetic Blast, Mage Hand, and True Strike. Don't use True Strike. Into level 2, we get our subclass features, the Cosmic Moth Illusions. You gain a swarm of Cosmic Moths that fight on your side. Once per round, the swarm can assist you in one of 3 ways after you attack an enemy. It can deal additional psychic damage, charm your enemy, or teleport you to a safer area. Kind of like the Swarm Keeper. You also get the bonus action Disengage and Hide, which have some cool abilities. And you get to pick up mental training here. We got Mental Fortitude, getting proficiency in Constitution saving throws, which is really nice for holding concentration on spells. Heightened Perception gives you proficiency in Insight and Perception. Bamboozler gives you a proficiency in Persuasion Deception, which is great if you're the face of the party. And Enchanting Performance. I think that this one is the best. Mental Fortitude, it gives you the most combat effectiveness. And then we get to prepare our spells here, and I'd recommend grabbing Magic Missile, Thunder Wave. Mage Armor can be nice, but it depends if you want to use, depends what you want to wear. We're going to keep this on. Command is extremely effective, and then you can go with the Dissonant Whispers here. Into level 3, this gives us access to the core psionic trainings here. So we further get to take some different abilities. We got the Mesmer, which gives you the ability to see in magical darkness, which is up to 24 meters. This is really good because there's not many ways to get magical dark vision, but there's also ones from the different classes here. So you can use the Psychokinetic Armory, which allows you to bind your weapon and allows you to cast Psychokinetic Armor without expending a spell slot, which increases your armor class. So kind of cool if you want to be more melee focused. Now, my favorites are the Psionic Distraction, which is basically cutting words from the lore bard, giving a 1d6 penalty to attack rolls, ability checks, or damage dealt. And Precognition gives you basically the shield spell there. I also think that is good to take, if you're not going to grab one of these here, the either Proximity, which will give you melee spellcasting does not get a penalty, but Alacrity, spells like Cosmic Action or cast on a bonus action, which is kind of crazy. So we're going to grab that as well. You can also prepare some more spells here. Silence can be nice because you're not getting affected by it, and you can stop thunder damage. Shadow Blade is also quite effective because it can, everyone knows how powerful Shadow Blade is, 48 damage. I also like to take Hold Person here, and you can also grab Mirror Image or Misty Step there if you prefer. We also can see in darkness, so I'd recommend having this at some point, but it really just depends what else you want to grab for spells. Once we hit level 4, we can also just grab an intelligence increase, which allows us to prepare more spells. Mind Break, whenever a creature affected by Mind Breach or Mind Steal Link dies, you gain 1 psionic focus point. That's great. We also get the Psionic Subjugation, which is the Mind Steal Link. Leech off a foe's psychic energy to make them vulnerable to psychic damage, which Resonant Stone can also do. And strengthening your armor class by 1. You can use an action to inflict 3 to 8 psychic damage or inflict dominance, fear, laughter, dancing, or madness without chance of failure. You're in control. This link will refresh in the duration as long as there are still creatures being controlled. It's a concentration. Pretty cool ability here. So we now get to prepare again another spell. I like darkness personally because we get the ability to see in it. So we may as well use that subclass feature. But if you don't like darkness, then you can grab Misty Step. We're also going to increase our overall intelligence because there's a lot of benefits to increasing that, most notably spellcasting, but there's a lot of other stuff. Now, at level 5, we get the Cosmic Moth Cloak. Whenever the wearer disengages, they create a darkness cloud within 3 meters that lasts for 1 turn. Now, there is a cloak in the game that'll actually give you a similar effect here, so that is cool that we can actually get this from just a subclass passive. And we also get access to some more spells. We get the Hunger of Hadar, which is nice, but I don't think it's actually the best choice here because this will require a concentration and we can't camp out in it. Same thing with the Warlock. It's sometimes better to use darkness because we can use darkness and the enemies can't, whereas we can't really we'll take damage. So counterspell is a given, we want to have that. And fear is really nice too. I'm still going to take Hunger of Ardor despite my little spiel there on it. It's still a really useful spell to have, despite it's gonna lose its effectiveness at higher levels. Now once we hit level 6, we get some more options here. Now, spitting psionics is really nice, so you can use this to whenever you cast a spell, it can now hit up to 3 targets, which is pretty nice. And then also another good choice is the telekinetic focus force here, which will add your intelligence modifier to psychokinetic blast or vicious mockery. Then there's also guidance here, which gives you speak with animals and bless as well. Ward, as mentioned, is always a nice option in the psychokinetic armor if you want to focus on more weapon attacks as well. This also gives us the shield spell for free, which then we can remove from our list of spells that we're selecting, and then we can grab things like Misty Stab. Invisibility is also quite nice, or Mirror Image, so that further enhances our choice in spells, as we don't need to prepare that one. Once we hit level 7, we get access to some more spells here, like Average Black Tentacles and Dominate Beasts, so that's pretty nice. Average Black Tentacles is a decent option, requires concentration, same as Banishment there, so that's something to keep in mind. But once we hit into level 8, this gives us another feat, and we can prepare another spell here. So Dimension Door can be sometimes nice, especially in an instance where you need it. Fear, also a good spell, and we're going to go with an ability score improvement on our intelligence, just because boosted spellcasting is really nice. Level 9 gives us the Shadow Strike, teleport to a foe from a hidden position, striking them with a creeping psionic ferocity of the shadows themselves. This is really cool because this is from the monk, the Shadow Monk. Now, normally the Shadow Monk doesn't actually get Shadow Blade either, so they can't take full advantage of this. This will add a 3d8 of psychic damage. With the Resonance Stone, we teleport to them and do a ton of damage. This is really good. That's why I took the Bind Weapon previously. We also get the Invoke Mesmeric Double, which gives you advantage on attack rolls for you and your allies within 3 meters. This is similar to the Trickery Cleric. It's still not that amazing because it requires concentration and a psionic focus point. We're better off doing other abilities, to be honest. But we get access to level 5, and there's a lot of really good spells here. So Hold Monster, very effective. Dominate Person fits the theming of this build, so we're going to take it, but it's not really the best in slot choice. Once we hit level 10, we can just take another spell here. Telekinesis just makes sense for a psionic class. It's a spell that just makes sense. Now, once we get to level 11, we get our subclass feature, the psionic ambush. When you're hidden, targets have disadvantage on saving throws against your spells. This is the whole reason we took this subclass. That's really good because we can hide in our darkness and then get advantage on, or enemies have disadvantage on their saves against the spells, which is very good. We also get Umbral Shroud, allowing us to turn invisible. The Mesmer is an interesting subclass. And we also get access to some really nice spells. We're going to take Disintegrate and the very powerful Globe of Invulnerability, one of the best spells in the game. Yeah, it's great and definitely one that we want to have. And then level 12 gives us our class passives with a lot of great choices. So I think the Telekinesis Focus Fire or Force is really nice because this allows us to add our intelligence modifier, but also the Piercing Psionics is also nice. This doesn't apply to Psychokinetic Blast. This will apply to more, actually. And then we can also grab the Psychokinetic Ward, which gives us the Shield spell. So if there's any others you prefer going with, you can go with them. It's not a major difference. The class passives here, these are psionic abilities, but they're similar to the Illithid abilities. The Cosmic Horror actually gives us a unique one with a Horrifying Visage here, which is a 1d10 psychic damage per turn to the enemy, and you regain 2 psionic points, which is pretty good if you need the points. Now, I'm a big fan of Mind Blast. The 48 plus 5 psychic damage is extremely effective, so that's a good one. You can also grab the Black Hole spell, which is also really nice. This will possibly slow targets. Then there's also the Psionic Resistance, where your resistance to psychic damage, which can be good, especially if you're using the Resonance Stone, which makes you vulnerable to it. So this will just cancel each other out, which is really nice. So I like to go with these two here because Black Hole and then also the Mind Blast are two very powerful abilities to combine together. For a final spell, I guess we can add in something like, I guess we'll go back to Telekinesis, and then we're going to go with the Alert feat for the +5 to Initiative. Now, this class does have ability to go all the way up to level 20. The Nexus mod version actually has a little bit of a difference there, but on mod.io, it actually puts the abilities at from levels 14 and 15 to levels 11 and 12. So we get all the abilities here. We'll keep it at level 12, but you can also go to level 20 if you prefer. And you see there, we got our Psionic Moths here. So we got those 12 Psionic points. We got our spells levels. They only get 2 spell slots, which is a really cool way to go about doing this. And then you also have all these Psionic abilities here. Now, as for gear, the Hood of the Weave is always a good choice, but you can use the Helmet of Arcane Acuity since we do a bit of attacking as well. The Cloak of Protection, great choice. Robe of the Weave will give us the increased spell save DC and +2 to armor class. This puts it at 20. We can boost that even further with a bunch of different gear, but we're going to leave it at that. Brain Drain Gloves makes the most sense here. Whenever you deal psychic damage, you inflict mental fatigue for 2 turns, and the boost is Stormy Clamor. So we get the mental fatigue, which will then further stack Reverberation. And I think the Shadow Cloaked Ring works really well here because we're going to use Darkness a bit, and this will give us an additional 1d4 damage. And then we're going to Protection, increase armor class, always nice. Amulet of Greater Health puts our health to 122. We have the Hellrider Longbow for the +3 to initiative, and then you can use the Staff of Spell Power or the more powerful Marka Heshker as well, because Marka Heshker will actually give us the Kareska's favor. And then I'd recommend taking the Bolts of Doom. Getting lightning damage on top of all of that is kind of nice because we can build up lightning charges. You also get chain lightning, which is nice to have, but not necessary. All right, so in combat, we really benefit from setting up our darkness. So you could use the Cunning action, Disengage, to be able to give yourself that extra darkness, or you can cast it. You could also go with a Globe of Invulnerability, but since this class is focused on darkness, I'm going to set it up here. And if you can cut line of sight, that's really nice too, because it can protect your teammates. Now everyone here is afflicted with darkness, so perfect. Now we also got the Eldritch Black Hole, which we can pull enemies together. Why this is nice is because we can pop this into our darkness, which will set up our extra abilities there. So you can pull them all in. It did not work. Oh, there we go. It actually worked. Slowed a lot of the targets, which is perfect. And then we got Mind Blast. So that's why this is so crazy, is because Mind Blast, it's part of this class. So it can potentially stun targets as well, taking away their turn. Boom, that blasted and stunned a lot of them there. So yeah, that's really good. So that used up our action there because that's the Mind Blast is an action, but we also get 2 bonus actions here. I didn't even use Shadow Blade. You can use it, it's really strong, and then paired with the Shadow Strike. You do have to be invisible to be able to utilize that, but we also got our Psionic Alacrity here, so you can use this and then cast spells that are typically an action as a bonus action. So this will let us use some other options like the Psychokinetic Blast there. We even got Booming Blade. We got, yeah, there's a lot of fun options. Disintegrate, Magic Missile, you name it, we got it. So we can go with really whatever you want in terms of combat. The Mind Steal Link does require us to have a concentration, which is a little bit annoying, and it does take over darkness. But this will give us, like, you can make the target fearful, you can make them laugh, you can make them dance, like a lot of cool options there. But I do think at this point we want to use a damaging spell, so we're going to use something like the Psychokinetic Blast here, which we can hit 3 targets with, and we're going to go blast all of them right there with it, and we'll roll the crit on it, and boom. And then you can see that we got our lightning charges off. We also get our Cosmic Moth's teleport, which we can use. It's kind of cool. We're not going to use it for the purpose of that. And that took out both of them there. Perfect. We have a few more targets back there that we can go after. We also have some other things that we can go with, like the Mind Breach. We have our Illithid bonus action, Mind Blast too, which is really strong if they're up close. But so we already used our class version of that too. Since I'm using Marka Heshker, I could use a Chain Lightning, but I feel like that's a bit overpowered, so I'm just actually going to skip my bonus action turn, where I could normally go with an attack, but we're going to skip it. And then we got our Psionic Distraction here, which we can give them 1d6 penalty to an attack roll. They need a 23 to hit, they rolled a 24. This is automatically going to make that miss, which is perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. So use it sparingly in instances where it's likely to help succeed. And they're going to end up throwing through darkness because their AI doesn't let them actually do melee attacks because it cuts their line of sight. But for some reason, they're able to still throw. Now, unfortunately, we have a lot of concentrations, then that makes things a little bit dicey because typically we'd want to be using some of our other concentrations. We just have so many of them. Hold purse, yeah, pretty much everything we got here is unfortunately a concentration. But then we can always just go with a Mind Blast too, because Mind Blast is just one of the most powerful options here. Psychic damage, we're a psychic-based class, and it also applies our lightning charges. We stunned this target and gave them 6 stacks of mental fatigue. What's nice about mental fatigue is whenever you have that applied, they're much less likely to succeed on any other saving throw. We also got our special psionic here, which we can now hit 3 targets with a certain attack. So if you're using Vicious Mockery, you can hit 3 people with a Vicious Mockery, which is pretty cool. 3 people with a Hold Person, 3 people with a Disintegrate. I'm not going to use that special ability on it. We're just going to do a normal Disintegrate there because this is a pretty funny spell. And boom, yeah, finish them off and crumble them away. So that is the Psionic Mesmer. It's really best to use the darkness if possible to give yourself that advantage on your spells. It's a really cool ability. There's not many classes that also have that. We also have that Disengage there, which will create darkness in a cloud. So you can use this too if you need to get away, creating that little darkness bubble, which gives you a bit of stealth. As a bonus action, that's really good. The other nice benefit, it doesn't require concentration. It lasts for 1 turn. So some pretty cool abilities there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I hope you have a great day. We'll catch y'all in the next one.